Welcome to Mystify Talk.
Today's story is about two hikers who went missing in northern Arizona. Now, normally, disappearing in the woods isn't unusual, but the way these two vanished is something investigators still refuse to explain. Because 3 days after the hikers went missing, search teams found a camera, half buried in the mud, cracked, broken, still recording. And the footage inside that camera shows something in the forest that should not exist. But before we get into the footage, let me tell you the story behind it. In November 2018, 21-year-old Ethan Meyers and 22-year-old Cole Ramirez, two film students from Flagstaff, decided to hike the Old Pine Valley Trail. Pine Valley is one of those trails locals don't really go to anymore. It used to be a logging route, but after a series of strange disappearances in the early 2000s, the park stopped maintaining it. People who camped there overnight tell the same story. No animals, no wind, just this heavy silence, like the whole forest is holding its breath. Ethan and Cole didn't care. They weren't there to camp. They were there to film. They wanted B-roll footage for a class project, drone shots, night shots, weird forest angles, stuff to impress their professors. They left on November 14th. By the 16th, they weren't returning calls. By the 17th, the park rangers had launched a full search. And on the 18th, one of the search dogs led its handler to a muddy clearing near the trail. There, sitting half submerged under wet leaves, was a camera. When investigators reviewed the SD card, the first part seemed normal. The boys are laughing, talking, making jokes about who's carrying more gear. Everything looks totally ordinary. Until about 12:13 p.m. For less than a second, literally a fraction, the camera pans left. And if you freeze that frame, you see it, deep between the trees. Something is standing there. Not a person, not an animal. A tall, stretched out silhouette with arms that hang too low, almost to its knees. The boys don't notice. They keep walking. When search teams reached the hiker's tent, they found the tent zipped from the outside, 2 backpacks still inside, food untouched, a lantern still on, no signs of struggle, no footprints leading away, and surrounding the site, in a rough, uneven circle, long drag marks, like something had been moving around their camp in the dirt. One ranger wrote in the report, the woods were too quiet. No wind, no birds, no insects. It felt like the sound had been sucked out of the air. At exactly 4:03 a.m., every ranger's watch and phone froze for exactly 3 minutes. They didn't know it yet, but that's the same timestamp that appears later. In the footage, the next part of the video jumps to around midnight. The boys are whispering. Cole says, "Something's pacing us." Ethan whispers back, "It stopped when we stopped. It's copying us." That's when the audio picks up a second set of footsteps, perfectly synced with theirs, like an echo with no delay. Cole shouts, "Hello? Who's out there?" And instantly, from deep in the forest, the same words come back. "Who's out there?" Same pitch, same rhythm, but wrong, flattened, emotionless, like a recording of Cole played through something that didn't understand human speech. The boys take off running. The camera shakes violently. Branches hit the lens. And then, the camera drops. The camera lands sideways. The screen shows nothing but leaves. But the audio is still perfectly clear. After 30 seconds of silence, a woman whispers into the microphone. Not Ethan, not Cole, a woman. Her voice is trembling. "Don't look for me. Don't call my name. If you hear me again, it isn't me." Then something drags across the forest floor. Wet, heavy, slow. And then, the exact same woman's voice whispers again. This time right next to the microphone. "I'm closer." Investigators later compared the voice to missing persons records. It matched a woman who disappeared in 2005. She was never found. The final minute of footage is the part nobody can agree on. With the camera still on the ground, a hand reaches into frame. But it is not a human hand. The fingers are way too long. The joints bend the wrong direction. Like whoever owned the hand had only seen humans from a distance and try to guess what hands look like. It lifts the camera, turns it toward itself, and for a single frame, you can see a reflection in the cracked lens. A face, not a real face, but a copy of one. Wrong proportions. Skin too tight, mouth too wide, eyes too reflective, like it hadn't figured out what eyes should do. Then the camera cuts to black. 20 minutes later, it turns itself back on and records footsteps slowly walking away. But there is no breathing, no talking, no shadows. Whoever or whatever is holding the camera is completely silent. The Pine Valley Trail was shut down less than a month later. The hikers were never found. Not a piece of clothing, not a bone, nothing. And the most disturbing part, the drone they brought with them, which recorded everything, was never recovered. So the question is, if something in those woods can mimic your voice, your footsteps, even your face, how do we know the search team didn't accidentally bring it back with them?
If you like creepy, mysterious stories, subscribe our channel and hit the bell icon.